Hello and welcome to blog stampwithelaine.com. Today we're going to be making this card, and the materials I've used is this stamp set called Perfect Blend and Gorgeous Grunge. So let's get started. Now I've done it in several colours, but the one we're going to work with now is Island Indigo. This is just a standard card which has been cut at 8 inches across and 5 3/4 inches wide. First we're going to take our Island Indigo ink pad and stamp it with this image from the Gorgeous Grunge set. Light tap because the ink pads are so juicy. One up there and one down here. Next I'm going to stamp it with this line image. It looks like a barcode, doesn't it? Another light tap. Pop it along there. Next we're going to need our Alphabet Press embossing folder. This Coordinations cardstock in Early Espresso has been cut the same width as the card, which is 5 3/4 inches by 2 inches. I'm going to pop it into the embossing folder, then I will sandwich it between two cutting plates. Now I have separate ones for embossing because when you use the cutting plate to die cut, it leaves a lot of marks on it, and this invariably gets imprinted onto the embossing project that you have. And there it is. Next we're going to sand it. This is Stampin' Up's own sanding system. It has removable sandpaper. The one on this end is the finer end. It's got Velcro on it, so you can remove it and replace it with refills. And this larger section, it's also fine, but it's not as fine as this section here. So the one we're going to be using is this side. I normally sand it in one direction because otherwise the paper will ruck up and you have creases where you don't want them to be. So it leaves a lot of debris, but we have a special cloth that's impregnated with some sort of chemical, and it smells rather like petroleum. I wouldn't sniff it if I were you. I've cut this into a third. Obviously the cloth comes a lot bigger, so that I could get more mileage out of it. And then all you do is just wipe the surface, and I'll wipe that too to pick up any stray bits, and it just gets stuck to your cloth. And then I pop this back into a sealed bag, and it will just last for ages. Next thing to do is to put sticky strip on the back of your embossed alphabet. Then you take your lace doily and fold it in half and cut it in half, and then I folded it into a quarter again and then snipped that bit off. And the reason why I do that is because it's easier to pleat then. Then I'll remove the top end of the protective strip at the top of this card and pleat. Then I'll need another piece of sticky strip on top of that. I'm ready to take that off, the sticky bit, and pop it onto my card. Then we need to sponge it with the Island Indigo. Then we'll need these lovely colours, designer paper, Soho Subway, that's what I'm trying to say. And I think I'll try and incorporate some of the Island Indigo into the punch. Yeah, that should do. Then I'm going to use the early espresso and sponge around the edges of this. I've put some dimensionals on the back. I'll just take off the sticky protective layer on the back. And I've decided to go with this. There. Next I need to stamp this image onto a plain piece of white cardstock. Then I shall cut it up off camera. I'll also need to stamp a mug on this. So I'm just going to cut this out so that it will go on this bit here. So I'll just finish cutting this. Then I'll pop a bit of Tombow on the back. And then glue that bit to here. I think I put too much glue in. There you go. And this is the really exciting bit. I got this from a very popular coffee bar, and I'm just going to snip off a bit, and on the back I've already put my dimensionals on to save time, and all I have to do is thread that through and glue it down. Don't you think that's sweet? So let's take all that off. Bring the card back and pop that on. Then I'll need to stamp the greeting in early espresso. And I'm stamping it onto Island Indigo cardstock. Then I need this wide-angled punch, and I shall centre it over the greeting and punch. Then bring back the card, pop a bit of Tombow on the back and then just slide it in underneath. For the inside of the card, I'm going to stamp it with this bar thing. And use these splotches. And voila! There's your card finished. But I'll leave that blank so then you can put any greeting on there at a later stage. So there's all the cards. I hope you enjoyed today's projects. That's a wrap for today. For more inspiration and Stampin' Up! Supplies, visit me, Elaine Harding, at blog.stampwithelaine.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.